This video increases your knowledge on Canada Study Permit application. Let's watch this.
So, hi everyone, how are you doing? My name is Olaito Onyebonher. I am the founder of Laurel Immigration Consulting, and today I'm here to talk briefly about some questions that our clients have been asking, and we thought, okay, in the interest of paying it forward as usual, this is the peak study period season. It will be great for us to actually address some of these questions. So I have with me like 10 questions here that we're going to be addressing. First off, how are you all doing? How is it going? I hope all is well. I hope you're doing great. And once again, you're welcome to our YouTube Navigating Your Canada Study Visa Application. On this episode, we're just going to be talking about common questions that seems to be a pattern, that our clients have sent us via email. And in the interest of saving time and focusing on strategic core priorities, and for the purpose of our paying clients that has paid us to deliver on their expectations, it will be fair to use that time, wisely and accordingly. So I have it. Hey, 7th Laurel Immigration, proof of means of financial support. What does that mean? Well, I think, and I know that what that means is whenever you're applying for a study permit, it is very important for you to demonstrate that you have sufficient funds to cover the entire cost, during your program. And I'm sure if you look through some of our video episodes in the past, we've talked about what constitutes the proof of fund that you need to highlight and explain to an officer. Okay, you're coming to school in Canada. How much preparation, how much planning have you put into this effort? Number one, have you been saving enough to be able to afford your tuition, afford your rent, afford the cost of living? And bear in mind that the cost of living varies across province. It also varies across cities within the same province. So it is very important that you do your due diligence to find out what is the cost of living. For example, my own province, New Brunswick, there are different cities in that.
Speaking of my own province of New Brunswick, are you aware of an upcoming international in-person and virtual recruitment? Please stay tuned. Go on gnb.ca, register for this event, and be sure to put your best foot forward. To find out more, take a closer look at this link and register to be there. So, that wasn't a paid advert, but I'm just trying to do my job as a community person who loves to bring good news to people. And so, let's head on and head back to our segment where we get to share ideas and learn one or two things. Please subscribe.
Okay, so welcome back, and our first question is what is proof of financial support? What does this mean? Again, I don't want us to belittle or look down on any question thinking, oh, this question is foolish question. There is no foolish question, and that is why we are here to assist and to help each and every one of us learn one or two things. So when we talk about proof of financial support by the end simply means what is the evidence that you have that states that whoever is sponsoring your education is well able to provide you for your needs, so that you don't have to put pressure on the social welfare system in Canada, so that you will not arrive Canada and drop out of school, so that you will not arrive Canada and you will not be able to focus on your studies because you've got to work. So this is the reason why the proof of financial support is a very critical component that you need to show and convince an officer that, hey, I have been making plans even before I applied to study in Canada. I have been saving my salary since 3 years ago in a fixed deposits account, and right now this is time for me to liquidate that and then transition that to my bank account that I am going to be presenting. So there are different ways to prove your financial support or financial sufficiency. Oftentimes the terms can be used interchangeably. So the idea around your proof of financial support means who is sponsoring you. Are you sponsoring yourself? Is your father sponsoring you? Is your mom or your uncle or your aunt or a member of your extended family, or is it your employer that is sponsoring you? On what basis? What is the justification? What is your employer? Let's use the case of the employer for an example. What is your employer getting back? Okay, if he's sponsoring you, is there an agreement in place that states that we're going to be sponsoring you to go to Canada to study, and when you're done studying, you're going to be coming back, to work for us for XYZ time period, so that we can recoup our investment on you? There has to be justification. And please also note that a family looking to sponsor you also needs to show evidence and pattern of financial sufficiency. When it comes to financial sufficiency actually address the part where you want to tell the officer that, hey, I am well to do, I have this XYZ amount of money stacked somewhere, I am able to sponsor my niece because this niece is very smart. I made a promise to my brother or to my sister, that I will be there to sponsor this person. So what that means is you need to be able to demonstrate that you have sufficient fund, or your sponsor has sufficient fund to cover your tuition fees, to cover your living expenses, and even your return transportation, because oftentimes you want to also establish that everything that I will need is being provided for, either by yourself or by your sponsor. So that is the proof of financial support. So what that means is you don't want to become a nuisance in terms of not being able to afford your education, not attending classes, and jeopardizing the reason for which you're in Canada. Sometimes you could also get scholarship. So when it comes to financial support, what are the documents that you need to provide? Number one document could be your bank statement. It could also be the bank statement of the sponsor that is sponsoring you. Scholarship letter that shows that you have been awarded XYZ amount of dollar scholarship to study in Canada. You can also show the proof of your investment that you've stacked up somewhere that you're going to be liquidating at the time T. Guaranteed investment certificate. We have a video on GIC certificate as well. Another option is to show your landed properties that your parent has, that you have. And also, I would always recommend that you go a step further to get real estate valuers to evaluate that property and convert it to the exact amount it is by the going market value. So if you can get all those things critically documented by accounts, sometimes you could do your net worth. You can have a chartered accountant to evaluate your funds tied up in stock options, tied up in investment, tied up in savings, tied up in check. So anywhere you have your fund all over the world, those accountants will put that documentation together to determine your net worth, and then they can write a letter, document, sign off that they critically assessed this documentation, and this is what you have for your study in Canada. So what that means is you have shown that you are well able to provide A, for tuition, B, for the cost of living, C, for miscellaneous expenses, D, for travel, and E, in the event that you are a mom or a father looking to travel with your children. Have you been able to provide for the funding they're going to need for either daycare, after school, and some other miscellaneous needs? I hope that has addressed that. So I'm going to reiterate that for proof of financial support, you need your bank statement, you need your sponsorship letters from either your parent, from if it's your employer, if it is a scholarship letter that you have, please make sure. For adequate information on this, you could also go on canada.ca. So there is a part where once you're actually putting your application together, and there is an icon on the proof of financial support, that is a question mark. Click on that question mark. It will tell you some other sources that you could think of in order to put your financial explanation together. The point I'll make here is planning around some of these things shouldn't be something you do in a hurry. And that's why a lot of people get refused for inflow, like when you put lump sum and you don't explain where the lump sum is coming from. It is not that lump sum is wrong, or you cannot have a lump sum in your account. Your ability to explain the origin of that sum of money that comes through is critical to your approval or to convincing the officer that truly you're financially sufficient. I will give you an example. I had a client recently who sold a vehicle, sold quite a lot of things, and they were able to raise 10 million from the sale of those assets and the vehicle. This was properly documented with receipts and evidences, and we received an approval within 1 month. So I would recommend that you carefully think through all of these processes so that ultimately you can convince the officer beyond reasonable doubt that you are financially sufficient. I have a tool that I use with my client, which I call financial sufficiency analysis table. We're going to be highlighting what our cost looks like. We're going to be highlighting what our expenditure looks like. In fact, we go a step further to plan for worst case scenario where you have to, you have some emergencies. What are my emergencies? How much am I documenting for my emergencies every month? We put that together. We now work on the source of our income, A, B, C, D, and then we net out the amount of money that we've paid to the school, because these days schools will require that you provide you make a certain down payment for you to be able to confirm your space. So you're going to deduct the amount you've already paid to the school. If you're the type that you've created a GIC account, like I said, there is a video for GIC in our collections. You deduct the amount you've actually paid also for the GIC investments that you've kickstarted, even from your own country. So when you deduct those inflows that has already gotten into the school, then the balance you have in your bank account versus the balance of the cost elements that you are yet to incur would give you what your net balance is going to be in your own purse. So what that means is you are more than able to cater to the need of your study, your living, and at the same time you have a balance in your account. So that gives you a positive financial sufficiency, and oftentimes you can also put a percentage. Say for instance your school fees is 20,000, right? And let's just say the entire cost of coming to Canada, let's say, if this is not real, let's say the cost of coming to Canada is 30,000, and you've already paid like 15,000. That alone means you've even paid more than 50%. So that is looking like, I think, 75% already been paid. So based on that, you can determine and establish to your officer that I have paid XYZ, which is 75% of my cost. And the remaining 25% that I have left, looking at my financial statement, I have 30,000. What that means is I am 100%, sufficient. Because if you deduct the remaining 5,000 from like the 50,000 you've got, you still have 45,000. So you need to be able to show the officer that, hey, I have my plans laid out. This journey is not a rushing or garbage in, garbage out journey. I have been working on this, and this is the outcome. So I hope that addressed the financial, because the reason I have spent about 10 minutes discussing this is because I know for sure that many a times, the officer wants to make sure that somebody is not coming to Canada on the pretext that he's coming to study, and then he gets to Canada, he's not attending class, he's going to work, or he decides to just trick the system. And I'm speaking because there has been evidence, and there has been pattern, there has been trend in this aspect where people come into Canada and they don't want to go to school. So this is where the financial element is critical, and I hope this addresses your question. The second one is work permit. This person asks evidence of work requirements, co-op internship, explanation of co-op and internship. Okay, okay. Cooperative education or internship opportunity allows students to gain practical work experiences, right? And oftentimes this could also be termed Canadian work experience. So what that means is you're able to go step away from the classroom and then you go to an organization to put your knowledge that you've acquired, the learnings that you have obtained through that program to use. So they are going to take you through some journeys. Some of this would also come along with capstone projects. So it's like a case of you go to the office, you learn one or two things, and then you have a supervisor who you're going to report your progress with. And this co-op option is also graded. So you need to take it as serious as when you're in the class. So what that means is when you're applying for study visa, there would be a question that says, is work part of your study components? So like, do you need to provide there's a particular question, there's this question that they used to ask, like, is work an essential component? Yeah, is work an essential component of your study? In that case, your admission letter must have stated that work is an essential component of your study. So if that is the case, when you get to the come to study in Canada checklist, or when you're trying to create your study permit application, if that question is asked, you have to click yes. But if work is not an essential component of your studies, you need to click no. So what that means is you do not need work, you do not need to embark on a co-op or internship. Okay, so just take a critical look at your offer letter to ensure that it is stated. In fact, some offer letter will actually have like two check boxes in front of it where they would have already ticked yes for you. So what that means is work is an essential part of your company, and the school would also write another letter in addition to your offer of acceptance. Then they also write to immigration explaining that work is an essential part. So in that case, it will be presented to immigration that is it. I hope that somebody has been able to gain something today. Over the past 10, 12, 13 minutes, we've been able to talk about proof of financial support, opportunities to literally put all your thoughts together around your sources of funds, which could be from your sponsor, which could be from family member, which could be from your employer. The rationale behind financial sponsorship is for the officer to be convinced that you're actually coming to study and you're not going to put pressure on the social welfare system, and that you come to Canada, you study, you graduate, which is the economic reason why you have decided to come to Canada, and that's the reason why your visa will be granted. And I hope this has helped someone today. We also talked about work requirement. I hope this has helped someone today. Please share this video, give us a like, share your opinion. If you have any other question, feel free to ask. There are tons of questions here which we shall be breaking down into a series of episodes. The goal is to ensure that somebody out there gets to pick up some few lessons from this. And by the way, my name once again is Olaito Onyempoha. I'm the founder of Laurel Immigration and the founder of RCIC Consulting, Study Abroad Made Easy. We're a New Brunswick based organization. I'm a New Brunswicker currently studying in Toronto on a research project that would benefit my province of New Brunswick. So, but for now, I still remain your New Brunswick, Study in New Brunswick blog, and I hope that with what we've learned today, you stay tuned for the next episode. Thank you, everyone, and I hope to connect with you in a bit. Bye.
So don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification so that you'll be the first to know when we upload a new video. There are additional videos that I mentioned before that you can take advantage of on proof of fund, how to make up your document, how to calculate your proof of funds and all that. Just click on any of these buttons and you'll be able to watch those videos.